Hello everybody, it's Miss Michelle. I'm coming to you from the Hastings Branch Library today, and we're going to learn about mandalas. The ancient art of making mandalas began in Asia, but even today, making a mandala is a great way to focus and relax. So let's get started. This mandala was made in Tibet in the 1800s. Mandalas are commonly made with many concentric circles within other circles. In fact, the word mandala means circle in an ancient language called Sanskrit. Mandalas are also symmetrical. That means that each side is the mirror image of the other. If I drew a line through a point in the center, the images on both sides of the line would look the same. Mandalas have symbolic meaning. Let's go over the word symbol. A symbol is a thing that represents or stands for something else. Let's look at these. The green arrows represent recycling. And you know the heart represents love. And that circle with a line through it means don't do it. Traditional mandalas have many, many symbols in them. Too many to talk about here. Some people say the mandala can be seen as the organizational structure of life. For some Hindu and Buddhist believers, the never-ending circle is a perfect symbol for a universe with no end. These monks are making a mandala out of sand. Often, as soon as the design is created, it is destroyed. Wiping away the sand is a symbol of the temporary nature of life. In other words, nothing lasts forever. Now it's time to make some mandalas of our own, and this is what you'll need. Paints or food coloring, a pencil, a paintbrush, a cup, some glue, salt, a sealable container, and a paper plate or napkins. Oh, and a piece of paper to do your design on. Like with a traditional mandala, I'm going to start by making a circle in the center and then let my design radiate out from there. You can really do anything that you want though. There's no really hard and fast rule. Just relax and have fun. I'm just going to start by doing very simple designs, and I want mine to be symmetrical. So every time I make a design on one side, I'm going to do it on the other too. I'm speeding this up so you don't have to sit there and watch me draw the whole thing. But when you do your design, just slow down and relax. I'm just keeping all of my shapes nice and simple. Circles, squares, diamonds. But I've seen other mandalas that are very complex, and you just do what you want. Now it's time to make the sand. And the reason I say make is because we're going to use salt and color it to make it look like colored sand. So first, just get your water, put it in your paint, get a nice bit on the brush, and then just draw or paint it all over the inside of your container. The sides, the bottom, and even the lid. And you'll see why in a moment. Okay, now it's time to shake a little bit of salt into your container. You can also use a plastic bag if you don't have a sealable container. Now we're going to color that salt by just shaking it up and letting that blue color get all over the salt. Don't want to put too much liquid in because you don't want it to dissolve the salt. You just want to color it a little bit. And now I'm just going to try to get it all in one place so that I can dump it out. I'm also using my brush just to make sure that all of the little grains of salt get color. Okay, now it's time to dump it out, and this batch will need to dry a little bit before we're actually ready to use it. The other thing you can do to color your salt is to use food coloring. And food coloring generally provides a much deeper, richer color, but it also stains clothing sometimes. So it's up to you how you want to do that. But you would do the same thing. And I probably should have spread that around before I poured the salt in, but let's see what happens. Okay, well, we'll have to improvise here. I'll take the rest of that blue and just mix it in with the salt using my brush until it's all an even color. If you noticed, I only used 1 drop of the food coloring because, again, you don't want your salt to dissolve, but you want it to be nice and colorful, and 1 drop should do the job. Okay, once that's dry, it'll be ready to use with our design. I decided at the last minute to add one more thing to bring my design all the way out to the edge. When I'm done, the next step will be to add color, and I'm going to do part of my design with watercolor paints and the other part with sand, or should I say salt. So I'll take my brush and moisten my paint, and I don't want to get it too wet because I don't want the orange to bleed over into the other part of my design. And I'm going to make a mirror image in the opposite corner. So I'll do orange in the bottom left corner too. And then I'll follow with some red. Okay, I've moved ahead, and now I'm going to color some of the smaller spaces. And if you would rather use markers to do those smaller spaces, because it's a little easier to stay within the lines, go ahead and use markers. I decided to make the center bright and sunny. And you'll notice that I left a lot of blank white spaces, and that's going to be where the sand or salt goes. Now it's time to put some glue down on the spaces where I want the colored salt. So I'm going to put the glue in spaces that are going to take the same color, and I'm trying different ways of getting the glue on there. This was with a Q-tip, which in the end I didn't think worked as well as some other things I tried. But we start with the Q-tip, and I'm just doing the diamonds because they're all going to be the same color. Now it's time to put my colored salt in the diamond shapes, and here's a great opportunity to learn from my mistake. Because the library was getting ready to close, I rushed and didn't let my paint dry. And look what happened. My salt got into my paint. So make sure you let your paint dry. But if you do make a mistake on your mandala, don't worry, because an important lesson of the mandala is it's about the process, not the product. So just keep having fun making it. So now I'm just going to continue on putting glue in my next set of shapes and putting the next color on. You'll notice that after I put all the orange color on, I dab each section with my finger just to try to get as much salt as I can into that glue. As I continued, I found that this was probably the best way to spread the glue. Just use the tip of the glue itself. Make sure you put on enough glue so that all the salt gets onto the spot that you want. Now I'm almost finished with my last handful of salt. And you can see I turned my sun in the middle into a sunset with the orange salt that had fallen onto the wet paint. Give it a final shake and we're done. So what did we learn about the mandala today? That it's very symbolic, that it represents the impermanence of life, that nothing lasts forever, and that the end product isn't as important as the act of making it. Thank you for joining me today, and your code for Read Squared is AugustFun29. Have fun making your mandalas!